Welcome, everyone. I'm Dmitry Kudrenko, co-founder and CEO of Stripo. And today we are continuing our Omnichannel series, and this is the third webinar. And in the first one, we explored on-site widgets, how they connect on email campaigns. We spoke with the CMO of Yespo, Taras Minchuk. And in the second, how mobile apps use email as a revenue bridge for subscriptions. We spoke with Oleg Lesov, CEO of Reteno. So you can follow the link on previous webinar in the video description. And today we are tackling the question I hear most often from email marketers. I'm sending a great emails, but my revenue is unpredictable. What am I missing? And to answer that, I have Alex Danchenko, co-founder and CEO of Yespo, my long-term partner, more than 15 years, who works with hundreds of e-commerce brands on exactly this problem. Alex, welcome.
Hello. Thank you, Dmitry. It's really pleasant to be here again. By the way, I've been to your channel before. And for those who were looking at the watch the previous two webinars, you already know that Dmitry holds not soft but really hard conversations with interesting, tricky questions. But to make it even more interesting and tricky for me, please do not hesitate, don't be shy. Drop your questions because it's super interesting to answer not the questions that I rehearsed before, but actual the real one questions from you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And yes, I prepared about 5 blocks of questions to you. But please, everybody who listens us, just write your question. And at the end of, when I finish with my questions, maybe even earlier, I will try to ask all your questions to Alex at the end. We have only 1 hour. So let's go. And my first question to you, Alex, is just about our audience. It's the people who build and send emails every day. And many of them are really good on it. So great design, solid copy, healthy list, but they still hear you need to move beyond campaign. At what point do one-off campaigns actually stop scaling revenue, even when email themselves are made well?
Yeah, that's what I see quite often. And we see that almost every brand I sit down with, not bad brands, like really good brands, like you mentioned, with good email copy, with design, like perfect responsibility, like good teams of design and processes. But what we see is that they hit the ceiling in pretty much the same moment. It is when they look at the revenue graph and they see how revenue is generated. It reminds like a heart monitor with like quite visual spikes. Like for instance, you have a spike on on Tuesday, then you have flat line, then Friday, then flat line. It happens because on those days they have mass mailings. So, and if you recognize this pattern, and you also have these like spikes of sales from email channel, you are obviously blocked. You are hitting the ceiling. And here is the thing: the problem is not about emails; it's about the timing of sending those emails and the personalizations in those emails. Because in this case, marketers send emails in the days when it's comfortable for them, not taking into account what exactly is happening in the customer life. And when you bind yourself to the moment when it's scheduled, so basically you bind the broadcast to your calendar. But if someone added the product on your website on Friday night, then probably it's Friday night when he's looking at the product and when he's interested in this product. If somebody subscribes to your list on Sunday, then Sunday is the moment he wants to be communicated. So not on the Wednesday when your newsletter will hit his inbox. And to visualize it, I'd like to give you the number. Like for instance, if we compare two roughly very similar emails, like for instance, we have some newsletter and we have abundant cart trigger. Like they could be done in the same good manner with all the proper structure of emails, good subject lines, and all the creatives are perfect. The email is responsive and it has some and properly delivered to the inbox. They will still have like really different results, because with we will have about 45 to 50% open rate with abundant cart email, and we will have only like 20% with mass mailing. And the difference here is not in the email, it's in the timing of delivering the message to the customer. So zero change in creative is just timing. So to sum it up, the ceiling is not the skill of a designer. It's not because the design is broken or something is wrong. The ceiling is that in between those spikes of sending, there is a silence. And the customer on your website is basically shopping in silence. And unfortunately, silently goes away and shops somewhere else.
So it means that our graph of activity in email have to be the same as activity on the site. So if our user visit our site in weekend, maybe we have to send message to them the same time.
Exactly. So basically, your graph should be more flat and growing through months, not flat or not flat with those spikes that I mentioned, because in general, these triggered workflows that help you to fill in this silence with communication with the customer in a relevant manner, they have this such a so-called compound effect. So when gradually they start bringing more and more and more, and usually you have this upgoing line in trend in your sales.
Okay, I see. So it means that we have to combine triggers and promotional, because of triggers is a way how to add like additional personalization. Timing is a like one of the scale. We have to personalize the content, we have to personalize the channel, we have to personalize the timing. And trigger is communication that always personalized. Yeah, it's
and
interesting.
Time bound.
Yeah. And for more marketers who watching this, which triggered flows should they prioritize? Like what triggers they have to send first? Abundant cards, welcome series, post purchase. So what brings the biggest revenue here?
That's a good question, and I covered this topic in previous video. So if you will have a link here to the webinars that I dedicated completely answering that question, it would be very nice from you. And answering this question, I have to say something controversial. And if you disagree with me, I'd love to hear your pushback on that. But most marketing advice tells you that you should start with abundant cart because it's like really close to conversion. But honestly, I think that is wrong. I think you should start with abundant browse. And here is why. When we look across all our clients, only 6% of website visitors will add anything to their cart. 94%, they will just browse your website and leave. So when you start with abundant cart, you're only optimizing that like really narrow segment of people that are almost ready to buy. And you do not do anything with like a lot bigger audience. So the abundant browse catches that 94% of the audience, and the person who looked at like a series of products and was distracted with his kids or family, the person who were comparing products and were going to check the reviews in some other reviews aggregator. We also lost this person. The person who was looking at the product, even like hoping to buy it, but was distracted by some important message or some important email related to work. So all of those people, they never added to cart. And here is the number that will actually still surprises me. Across our client base, abundant browse is the single most profitable trigger we have, not cart, browse abandonment. I'll give you the number. One of our customers, Biodata, is an online alcohol shop. He gets 38% open rate on that email, 38% open rate. 20% of those people come back to the website, and 32% of those people who return to the website make an order. So think about the math. You are not just recovering a cart from those 6%, you are actually creating a cart that was never existing before. So you basically add more carts. So my ranking priority stack would look simple like this. So welcome series first, abundant browse second, abundant cart number 3, post purchase is 4, and this would be like minimum stack of triggers to start with. As a secret bonus additional information is that welcome series that you design for subscribers often outperforms behavioral triggers. And in this moment, when people first subscribe to your list, they are most interested in your brand. So don't waste this opportunity. Don't try just thank you for subscribing. Use this moment to grab attention and to make people make the first purchase.
Exactly agree with you because of yes, abundant cards have a lot of revenue per campaign because if we send only few emails and they're very close to the transaction. But one of the problem with abundant cart and browse is a number of identified sessions. But everybody can interact with a welcome series. So everybody who clicked on a link on a welcome series already identified in a session. So you have bigger numbers for abundant browse and the boarded cards when you know who is on a site. Yeah. So,
Yes,
and
that's the alchemy behind scenes. So yeah, thanks for adding this. Yeah, basically that's the compound effect we have. The more emails we send out in the same platform for triggered and mass communications, the more identified sessions we have on the website, the more personalized could be follow-up conversation, follow-up messages. And that's the compound effect that we see. So you can start with 2% of additional revenue from triggers in the first months, but you will have like 14% in several months because it will grow rapidly.
so it's another possible problem for companies who integrate a lot of different tools that do different kind of automation. One system for some triggers, another for broadcasts and promo campaigns. So it's hard to keep the golden record and hard to identify session. Yeah, it's interesting. But
yeah,
mhm.
The fragmented data is the problem number one. What is very fundamental? that's the problem. You should keep in mind that the only easy way to avoid is to be able to use everything in one system. That's the simplest way to do it. Of course, it's not always possible to do it like this. Sometimes you have fragmented infrastructure and so on. But if we say about if you want to have to never have this problem, just stick to the tools that can combine you omnichannel and data gathering.
Yeah. So like we started, we should not optimize every campaign. We have to think about whole system holistically. And can you share? You already shared the number for some triggers, but can you share some more generic numbers when brand switches from mostly broadcast campaign to a mix when you have campaigns for triggered flow and broadcast? What kind of revenue shift do you typically see in this case of?
Yeah, I'll give you a ladder of instances because like basically uplift depends on where you start. So if you are at 0 triggers today and you launch your 6 well-designed ones like welcome, browse, cart, post-purchase, reactivation plus birthday, within 3 to 4 months, you typically expect to have extra 20 to 30% on top of your email revenue. And that's without touching your campaigns. The campaigns are the same. If you go further, so for instance, you have certain triggers, tight segmentation, proper creative. We had a fashion brand, Natalie Bulgar, that managed to increase 7 times revenue from triggers in 4 months. It's not a typo. That's like really 7 times, to be precise, 650% uplift in revenue throughout 4 months. And this comes
impressive numbers.
With yes, certain behavioral triggers can provide this result. And at the top of the ladder, I'll give you an example of Prom.ua, a great marketplace that runs more than 70 different triggers, 70 triggers. So 10% of all company orders now come from triggers. Think about that. A marketplace where 10% of total orders originate from an automated email that someone created some time ago, and basically it works automatically.
So you can go for vacation and can keep your revenue from email at the same level.
Yes, potentially. I know the people who work there. I'm not sure they have any vacations, but here is the mental reframe I want to show you. So campaigns generate revenue when you send them. The triggers generate revenue when you are on vacation or when you're sleeping or do whatever you want to do. So you are not replacing the work, you're just replacing the relationship between the effort and result. And that's the shift you have. Well, maybe it's even more important shift, like mental shift, than just some increase in percentage.
It means that you don't need to work hard every day to produce more campaigns, but you start to be a real marketer who thinks about efficiency, A/B testing, improving, and some tuning your existing campaigns. Yeah.
Yes, agree.
It makes sense. And I have another question here is about the content of automated emails. Usually there is a product recommendation in email. And, our audience do a design of them. They design a product cards or some grids, some section you might also like. And, the biggest impact here is the content you have from marketing automation, because of it's not only design, it's also very personalized content there. So which recommendation algorithm actually moves the needle over conversion and average order value?
Actually, that's one of my favorite questions from the list we will discuss today, because this is the place where the skill of Stripo professional instantly doubles in his value. And I wanted to prove you with numbers and with example. So, for instance, you already design a product recommendation blocks module, like 3 products across or 6 products in the grid, or you have the section you might also like. So you designed like many of them. And the block is like pretty much the same in every trigger or newsletter. What changes is what for every customer will be populated in these blocks. And the classic recommendation engines say, so customers who bought this will probably buy that. And same 6 products could go for all the recipients who like have similar purchase history. In a different approach that modern algorithms offer, like a transformer model, which, if you're not technical, is the same logic that ChatGPT or any other text generative tools use. So just making a prediction about what would be the best next continuation of the phrase. In the same way, predictive models from Yespo can also predict what would be the best product to continue the user story, the customer journey for this particular person. And in this case, the algorithm looks at that specific person behavioral sequence, and it will take into account what he viewed on the website 3 weeks ago, what they added to cart, what they removed, what brands they like, what he added to wish list, what was their reaction in the emails we send out to them, and what products they clicked on, and based not only on purchase story, but purchase story plus behavior, plus the stage of a customer life cycle, plus the segments they are in according to RFM analysis. Everything is taken into account, and the algorithm will fill this product recommendation block with personalized recommendations. So basically your design, but different algorithm used to populate this data. And you can have easily multiple like results multiplied by 2. And I have like one of the examples. Foxtrot is a large electronics chain of retail, has 13 million customers a year. So same email template they've been using, same 6 product recommendational block that were designed in Stripo. They swapped the classic recommendations for new algorithms from Yespo with transformer plus LLM. As a result, plus 33% in click-through rate and 2.8 times traffic. So basically, nearly 3 times more traffic from the same email, the same broadcast, the same email design, the same copy, different products, better fitting every customer. Another example is from Puma Ukraine. Same design skeleton. They first added recommendations. About 2% of orders were coming through that block. 14 months later, the same block generates 20% of orders, 10x comparing 1 year ago, in the same email, in the same template designed once. So if you are a designer and you already did the hard part, you already have this template. The question is how to utilize this media email with the most proper data. So basically your work becomes an infrastructure where smart recommendations could be placed, and that's it's paying back every month, and it gets better every month.
I see. So you recommend add the recommendation, not in integrity emails, but also in broadcast. So any email can have a recommendation, or maybe some email should not have these blocks. Do you have some particular advice? What kind of recommendation block we should use in which campaigns?
There is there are best practices, and the best practices are actually have to be tailored per every case. Now, for instance, like throughout the development of a product recommendation in Yespo, we have about 200 different algorithms tailored to different cases. And I would not say that there is one algorithm that fits them all. Depending on different span of knowledge that we know about each customer, even a combination of different algorithms could be implemented. Like, for instance, if this is a regular customer and we have like personal recommendation for him based on his previous interests, we use algorithms that can make a prediction based on his actions on the website and purchases. If it's a new customer, but he still receives the same newsletter, then this block will be filled automatically with a different algorithm that because we could not recommend him anything based on his previous purchases because there is no previous purchases, but there will be a cascade of different recommendation algorithm working all together. So basically, you do not have to think about which algorithm to put in which place. That's what we take on our responsibility and provide you with the best algorithm possible for each case. So basically, that's the way we work usually with the businesses. We have recommendations, but it's like really hard to give someone an idea because even one algorithm doesn't fit the situation. There has to be a cascade of algorithms.
I see. But in case of a design, you already mentioned that there are a lot of different ways how you can combine your products. It's a different way in different system. I know that in Yespo you can configure any kind of a design, but some systems have some patterns you cannot change. You only can change what exactly you show in a product card, but you cannot change the design. Do you have any experience that shows is design matters or only content makes sense? It doesn't really make a lot of difference what you design inside.
I think that like from the point of the marketing automation tool, we like strongly believe in data, and we think that using the proper personalization is more important than design itself. But I might be wrong because the audiences are different, and for some people, some might say that now brand consistency, the beautiful looking email is more important. And something tells me that today I'm talking to the person that believes that design is super important, even more important than data. So I think the proper answer is somewhere in the middle. So actually the blend of a great design plus proper data is where we get the good result. If you have broken design with proper JSON populating the product recommendation, it will still be broken. We will not get the result. If you have great looking email, but we don't have any personalization, then the opportunity will be lost. So I think the better way to look at it is that everything has to be in its place. There has to be great design, but there also has to be a great personalization.
Yeah. So it's better to have like basic design for the right message than the gray design for the wrong message. So we definitely need to think about
We
personalization
could say
first.
so, but I would also say that you mentioned that some systems have very rigid recommendations. For instance, they can provide only 3 items per recommendation or just 6 items. We are very flexible with that. One of the latest updates we did, we support currently sending, as an omnichannel system, sending product recommendation in messengers and even in carousel in messengers. When you receive like RCS or a Viber message and you get this like short message, but with carousel of product items. And we support it with our recommendational engine, and it works like very well, just because it's with recommendations, it's always better to have several options, because like you can predict the possible best product for a person, but if you can show him like 10 of them instead of just one, there is just a higher probability to guess what would really be helpful for that person. So yeah, different formats, 3 blocks, 9 blocks. We even have like even different algorithms could be used in one email. So we can have like personally for you, similar items, often bought together. So all of this could be populated in one email. So you basically can blend and play with those algorithms to deliver the best results. And of course, everything is based on testing, because this is impossible to look at some email with some product recommendations and tell, okay, that's probably good recommendation or bad recommendation. It doesn't work like this. You should always rely on stats, and luckily we provide you such statistics, and you can do A/B tests. You can compare different approach, different data sources if you want to. It's everything is very transparent and based on data eventually.
I see. I see. And yeah, you mentioned omnichannel, and here I have another question. You know, our audience knows gamification from email, like spin to wheel, scratch card, quizzes, questionnaires in inbox. But also we discussed with Taras from class for gamification on sites through widgets. How do you think? Do gamified widgets actually convert into revenue, or they mostly engagement play?
The short answer, yes, real revenue. And I would not be so sure if it was not based on the measurements. So let me give you 3 examples that I prepared. So there are the first one. Stylus is an electronics retailer. He added a spin the wheel widget on their site. It will be the first, the simple example. So they had 150% more monthly revenue from new subscribers with just one widget. So 150% more revenue from new subscribers. Pandora is a jewelry brand, global, and we work with their country level representatives. They had the widget called Match 3, and they placed it on their homepage. So they got 7 times more subscriptions and plus 200 monthly retention revenue, plus 200% more new contacts. So basically, it means that this widget collected you, the new subscribers, in 3 weeks, the same amount that you would get usually in 3 months. And that's like crazy good result for the company, because new subscribers influence every number in your campaigns, in your broadcasts, in your sales, in everything. This is the fresh blood that actually helps you to achieve better results. And the last example is from bus ticketing platform Bus4. They had a Wheel of Fortune dedicated to some seasonal campaign on Halloween. They had 10% conversion in the first 12 hours. 3,000 new leads. 94% of email addresses were provided valid. So it's an extra layer that also incentivizes people to leave their actual email. And here is why it works so well and why I like it. When someone wins a prize, even a chance-based one, so just randomly win the discount, people feel that they earned it. So it's not just given a discount, it's a discount that I won in this game and I played this game, and that's why I feel it valuable. There is a special term for this, like so-called a prize effect. And the price effect does something else. It doesn't just help you to capture email, but also capture the preference of a user. In this moment, you can ask additional question. You can also, which Yespo does automatically, connect to this email all the previous browsing behavior, which immediately influences all the follow-up communications. So basically, you get not just one email, but also what he was looking at before he played the game. And we can also submit some additional question about the gender, the preferences, the size of where he's looking for. So they picked, they won, they choose, and they give you this data to make personalized communication for them. So yes, real revenue, but a lot more valuable data for you.
Yeah, and another question here, because we just had a discussion last week on the influencers meetings. So that a lot of companies say we are too small, we don't have enough data. And here is exactly source where we have data and we have to act immediately. So do you have any suggestion about connection between the data we have from widgets? It could be just leads or maybe some preferences on the site or something else into activation into the next email sequence they receive.
Yeah, that's what we often see also, that most brands just underutilize the widgets. They see it is just like one simple task, grab attention of a customer, get his email, save subscription, and send generic welcome message. And that's done. The good widget captures two things, the email and the signal. And the category, what they picked, the browsing behavior before they played the game, the size they answered, the birthday they entered, and everything of this is like very important that you as a marketer can use to make your campaigns even more effective. And what the full loop of gathering data should look like this. So someone visits your website. After 35 seconds or on exit, your gamified widget appears, takes attention of a person. They spin the wheel, win 15% count. That event with the code, the price name, and the preference writes directly into the contact profile. The workflow fires a welcome email in a few minutes with exact price name, with the product grid was filtered based on the interest that we know from his behavioral, from his previous browsing. And we basically show him something that he was interested in. So we basically put it in front of him, the discount, the products that you looked at and that you were interested in. So basically no-brainer, and of course, simple call to action that helps them to utilize this price immediately. One of the examples that we had with one of the customer from a different industry is called Le Gourmet, the cookware store. So when someone viewed the product, that was above, I guess, like 50 euro, they were sending an SMS with a promo code. If it was less than some threshold, they were just sending a link to this product. So basically the same widget, but we can decide what type of price we will give him. And there could be different passes after he submits the widget, but also the different passes before the widget even appears. So we can set up different rules, which widgets in which moment to show. We certainly don't want to show subscribe widgets to people who are already in our contact base. We do not to give away just free delivery to those who already use this feature. And so the widgets are so much more interesting than just a pop-up to get the email. So we could spend a lot more time on it, but like shortly answering the question, the connection between pop-up and the next email is in this data that we capture using the widget.
Yeah, I see. Thank you. And you just mentioned that you didn't send just email. You also sending text messages, SMS or Viber or Telegram or any other channels. So how we can coordinate different channels if we want to send message? Should we send the same message in all channels or just find the different way, different role for each channel? And just any suggestions here?
Yeah, let me start with a personal example. My youngest daughter sometimes needs my attention. And for instance, if it's time for me to pick her up from school, she starts calling me. And when I, for instance, doing at the same moment webinar, I just cannot answer her. And I expect her to be patient and to wait for me to come. But she starts calling the landline. If I don't answer there, she starts calling the WhatsApp. If not there, she starts calling Telegram. She sends me like 40 messages one by one, not stopping at any moment. So sending the same message to one person is super annoying. So don't do that. The proper difference between omnichannel and multi-channel is basically with multi-channel, we send out the same message across different channels. And we do not understand whether people opened, whether they read the message, whether they understood the message. We just try to bombard it the other way. If you do not, we do not see that you open an email, we will send you an SMS. And if you opened an SMS or not open an SMS, doesn't matter for us, we will send you a WhatsApp and so on. So the omnichannel is a respectful way to use channels in sequences, reacting on whether people open the previous message or not, whether they interacted with this message or not. And certainly there is a change in the message from step to step, not to be annoying. The real problem, so yes, the real problem is when we try to utilize more channels in a very strict way, like my daughter does. So we, I think we are wise enough to avoid it.
I feel your pain with daughter-style communication, but sometimes it's the only way to find to grab your attention.
Sometimes, yes. Guilt.
And you know, what role does email play in omnichannel system? Is it still like the backbone, or does it just one of equal channels with any others? How do you think?
So is it the email, right?
Yeah. So can we say that email has the same power as text messages or mobile application, or they have something specific?
Like I want to start from a good news from the very beginning. I honestly believe that, and to the all email marketers in the audience, I believe that email is #1 channel, and all other channels could play only supportive role. So the email is the backbone of all the communication. And there are three arguments for that. Why I believe that in e-commerce, but not just e-commerce, like mass communications in general, email has like very strong positions, and no one has anything close to that. First of all, #1 is container size. Email is the only channel that can carry rich content and can deliver the whole, so that you can have 6 product recommendation grid. It has the potential to do a long form storytelling. It can have multiple CTAs depending on different customer profile. It has interactivity. Push can have just one line. SMS can carry a sentence. Viber can have one image, and only email could carry the whole story to deliver to the recipient. Second is the cost of email. Email is nearly free at the margin. SMS, Viber, WhatsApp, messengers, RCS, they like cost real money %. And when you look at the workflows, email is a channel that you always start with. The other channels could be used in omnichannel strategy as a fallback when the richest channel is not used. And the third is attribution, because email is probably the best trackable channel of all. You have UTMs, you see clicks, you can calculate conversion, you can attribute revenue. So everyone in this audience speaks email fluently. So no other channel has this depth of trackable signals that can later be used for personalization.
Okay.
I have one example from the company that I wanted to share. The food delivery application Rocket, with over 1 million of downloads across all their entire omnichannel stack. They had email, push, SMS, messenger, in-app. When you look at average order value per channel, email has the highest average order value. And the channel that people and that channel actually brought them the biggest order, biggest baskets. So to the email marketers watching, I want to tell you that the skill you have is not being replaced. It's been made more central, and I think that it's gonna be and remain the leading role for a long time.
Yeah, I see. And I don't know if you would speak about the middle-sized e-commerce brands, and if they send only email now, do you have any suggestion how to start set up environment to add more channels? Some practical advices how to scale from email to omnichannel.
I think the best way here would be, like, first of all, keep email. Don't touch email. It has to be in the first place. And then exactly add just one channel, exactly one, based on the audience. And there are some like directions, what channel to choose as a second one, depending on the business. If your project is desktop heavy and you have a lot of repetitive visitors, and so use web push, a super cheap, super effective channel for people who once subscribed. You will always be able to get their attention. In in Eastern Europe, there are countries where popular some messengers like Telegram or Viber, and WhatsApp is super expensive, so you can choose one of the messengers as a second option. If you have mobile app and you're a mobile first company, then mobile push is definitely the channel you should add. And if you sell high value products or you have urgent purchase category like travel, tickets, pharmacy, you can use SMS. Like also very good channel, a little bit more expensive than the ones I mentioned before. So add just one channel, not 5, not 4, not 3, just one. Then add 2 widgets, one standard subscription and one gamified widget for seasonal moments. Wire for workflows. Welcome message, must have. Abandoned browse, like I mentioned, the most profitable one. Abandoned cart and post-purchase. Use email as a primary message and the new channels that you pick from the list as a fallback. And that's it. That's really very realistic stack that you can see on a medium-sized businesses. And it would already produce you great results. I can prove it with an example. The customer of Le Gourmet, the cookware store, they started with 0 email automation. So they had exactly, and we provided them with exactly the same stack that I just mentioned. So 2 channels for workflows, 2 widgets. It took 4 hours of implementation work. The first month, they had their first automated sales. On month 4, the full platform was paid back by this new additional revenue. So no enterprise headache of implementing different complex procedures. Just stick with a simple plan. And the magic of Omnichannel is not just number of channels. It's just the ability of channels to talk to each other and to take and support another channel when the first one doesn't work as intended because the customer, I don't know, that became inactive in email or maybe unsubscribed or something. So 2 channels done right would outperform 5 multi-channel system. And that's the proven results that I wanted to share. So simple stack works fine, recommended.
I see, but okay, if we will try to be more practical, and
Even more practical.
let's assume
Okay.
that some watching us from Shopify or WooCommerce or other popular platforms for e-commerce. So how quickly they can extend their campaign they send with the ESP, adding more channels, what they have to do here, and how hard to implement all the stuff you just shared with us.
So if we speak about the popular platform like Shopify, WooCommerce, OpenCart, then the way to triggers and automation is even easier. Typically, it's 2 to 4 weeks to first revenue, not to the first setup, to first revenue. I can prove it with an example. We had a customer, GP Socks. They had WooCommerce store, and they went from 0 triggers to 12 Pro triggers. The Pro triggers is a package of best performing triggers that are like designed as a templated approach to triggering that Yespo has. You can check it out at our website. But the idea is, so best performing triggers, 12 of them were implemented within 2 weeks, and they recorded 3 purchases on the day 1 from abandoned cart and abandoned browse. So in 2 weeks, they already had sales that they would not have otherwise anyway. And so full stack, the widgets, triggers with web tracking and templates took 40 hours of agency time, and the first sale was delivered on month 1. The another customer, Box, they migrated from another platform entirely. Again, 40 hours, 16% contact base growth in 3 months, full payback of CDP implementation in 3 months. So there is like practical advice how to do that there for Shopify or WooCommerce owners. Start with installing the plugin. Plugin helps Yespo to input the data from the platform, which is vital for personalization and for actually implementing those triggers. So implement plugin from Shopify App Store or WooCommerce repository. Configure the product fit with recommendation, install web tracking script, define behavioral event, product views, cart and purchases, which is done actually automatically. And you can build your first forward flows yourself, or you can get them as a package from Yespo. And that's the weekend project. So basically, you can do it in a few days. It's not a quarter-long initiative that you will do with all the teams. So it's like really, really easy to start. And for Stripo users, especially specifically important that all the triggers, all the email templates that you designed with Stripo could be seamlessly transferred to Yespo account and then used. So basically,
it's a great news. And yes, thank you for installing numbers. It's really motivates and for clear roadmap. But another thing I would like to highlight today, and we're almost out of time. So it's a website personalization. Seems like it's a next frontier. What's the lowest effort and highest impact place to start with on-site personalization? Not only in email or widget, but on-site personalization for someone who never done it before.
In this case, I would recommend to start with placing the product recommendations on your product detail page. Though it looks like counterintuitive because you expect that it should work only for people who we know their previous purchases, but it actually works even for people that you never seen before. The recommendations in this case would use the different algorithms and will just as a fallback they gracefully change the transformer model to a bestseller recommendation. So basically, you never lose traffic, you never have bad recommendations. You have just the best possible recommendation that are available for these data points. And that's what would work like from day one. So you just place one block below the product description, and that's it. So no homepage redesign, no hero banner rewrites, no persona workflows. You just use one block in the place where a purchase decision is being made. And in this area, there will be a block populated with 6 or 3 products. It's like easily to configure. And that's how it can be implemented in hours. So that's the way we work. So one block, one page, and several hours of work. And here is the beautiful part. Then once the product recommendation is added, it keeps learning. And 3 months later, it performs better than on month 1. Month 12 is better than month 3. So it's only the lever I know. The only situation in marketing that works in the way if you do not touch it, it works better and better and better. But you can touch it and make it even better with A/B tests if you want to.
Yes, a great insight. So when you do something, don't give up quickly. Wait for result. Wait till it became mature on the data it gathers. Yeah, it's interesting. And that's last quick question before we go to Q&A. if brand wants to start moving from this campaign-driven we started to discuss to the revenue system, like now or this week, what could be the first 2-3 steps you would recommend?
Okay, so the first 3 things I would do and that I would expect would significantly change your business is these 3 things. Like first one is launch abundant browse, the overlooked trigger number 1, not cart but browse. The arguments I gave you before, just reminding that 94% of your audience never get anything from you unless you implement this trigger. Step 2, probably it would be adding a web push if you're in e-commerce as a fallback for your email workflow, just because it's super easy and super quick to implement. You can use it in your workflows, but you can also use it for mass campaigns. Start with abundant cart and abundant browse. Web push is free. It takes just a few hours to integrate, and you can have a lot better abundant cart and abundant browse recovery. Like you can double the results just adding this additional channel. And step 3 would be implementing a gamified welcome widget on your website. Capture email and one preference signal. Your welcome series would be personalized based on that signal. In this case, you lower your subscriber acquisition cost. The welcome series revenue rises because you provide more personalized welcome series. And these 3 moves actually support each other. You get newer audience, you have better conversions, and you have better acquisition. And all of them work together across all your life cycle. So I think that in 30 days, you would see that like really, 30 days is enough from all of this action to see the results. And after that, you can decide whether you want to do more.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alex. And we are out of time, but we have several questions. I would like to switch to the question. And the first is a question: is everything we discussed were mostly focused about e-commerce because of your experience, mostly around e-commerce companies. And for the SaaS, as B2B media or non-profit marketers in the room, does the priority order collapse, or do we need a parallel list? And there is additional, trail abandonment feature option triggers and content re-engagement. What do you think?
I think that's a question for both of us as we both work in SaaS.
Exactly.
To me, it seems quite obvious that you should decide what you want to say at this moment of time. Should not let the system bombard the user with controversial messages. So that's why I would segment the audience and make the automations based, including the segmentations. This would be my answer.
Yeah, I would also add here that e-commerce and SaaS have a completely different model. If one is subscription, where retention is most important, or you have a phases: onboarding, conversion, retention, reactivation, and we have to focus in life cycle. And in the typical e-commerce, it's mostly transactional data we have, and we have to push for the next purchase. If you already subscribed for a service, we don't need you to push for the next purchase. We need to keep you engaged in your system. And it's certainly completely different triggers. But still, we have the same, like abundant cart, abundant list. And for different kind of SaaS, it's a different triggers, different lists. and I think it's. I would recommend to refer to the previous session. We discussed retention with alias for mobile applications, and for typical SaaS, it's life cycle management, where the first most important is onboarding emails, where you can enrich the data profile and motivate for the next action for your customers, and then focus into engagement and retention. Yeah. Another question from Laura. Hi, I'm confused about promo codes. Could you advise, please? If I send the promo code 3 times in follow-ups, does it still feel earned, or does repetition revert it back to a regular discount?
That's a good question. Of the first idea I had to advise you, like it's like with abandoned cart. Like for instance, we do not recommend to give any promo codes in abandoned cart email in the first abandoned cart email, because in this way you just teach your buyers to leave cards to expect to get the discount. So usually you do it only on second email. Then I understood that you have slightly different questions. So maybe someone played the game, got the discount, and you try to remind him about it. I believe that if he didn't open the email, that probably the problem is not that he doesn't value the price. It might be a good moment to use a different channel, because for some reason he might just not see this email. And like I said, in this case, after you feel that after like 24 hours the promo code is still unused, you can just use a different channel. That's what I would do, like generally speaking. If you have just one channel, then okay, you don't lose anything if you send one more email. Unfortunately, that's the best we can do if we do not have this option of omnichannel. But that is why like switching to another channel is important in such cases.
And also, what I would say here, you can provide the promo code in different ways. First, you have a promo code, go and use it. And the second, we have a recommendation for you, and with this promo code, you will have more. Or you can say, okay, you have a limited time, you can add some deadline when and push him to use a promo code. And certainly, if he didn't open email, maybe you can repeat and certainly use the different channels. Yeah, and sometimes when you use a promo code in subject line, and if this promo code is easy to type, like a Black Friday 2026 or something like that, so he can push even because of he saw it in pop-ups from Gmail or from Apple Mail, and it's not necessary for him to open email. So track not only open of email, but also promo code usage in your system. Yeah. We have another question from Sophie. By the way, you mentioned Wheel of Fortune. Does this work for B2B, SaaS, financial services, premium brands, where spinning wheels reads as cheap? Or is the honest answer pick a different mechanic?
I saw implementation of this game in many different industries. Even we ourselves for Yespo as a B2B SaaS solution use Wheel of Fortune. To me, it doesn't sound like like cheap solution. To me, it's just a showcase of the capabilities of the platform. Maybe that is why to me it's fine. But I just want to share with you the results. The Black Friday, the last year when we offered this Wheel of Fortune, that we had like, I don't know, like 10% of our database, which is like what tremendous result. Never we had that many people using, trying to use the Black Friday deals for our platform. That was a record, and it was exactly when we implemented this Wheel of Fortune. This Easter, we also had a game with looking for eggs, and we had this game in emails, and we also had this game on the website, and we also had very good response from the marketers who use the platform for a long period of time. And I don't feel that that it makes the platform look cheap. I think it makes it look fun. It makes it look more human. So that's why my answer would be is it's fine to use it anywhere.
And yeah, I have some internal insights because I see hundreds of different gamification and some different mechanics. And yes, it maybe I have a professional deformation, and I also fed up with spinning wheels, but I see the numbers. About 80% of all interactivity in gamification, especially in widgets, are implemented with a Wheel of Fortune. And it works very good. It shows a dramatic uplift in the conversion. So we have to understand that our view on marketing mechanics is not exactly the same as our recipients. Because of we read a lot of books, we play with a lot of mechanics, we want something different, but people are engaging and exciting seeing even Wheel of Fortune, sometimes when we are not very happy with it. But I would recommend to try different mechanics, be different, and think about your customers first. Hi, thanks for your
Thank you.
insights. It's a great
Yeah.
example with your daughter. Yes. I have a question. In markets and segments where email open rates sit at 15-20%, and poor sits at 60-90%, mobile first, Gen Z especially. Is email first still the right default?
I think yes, because of the capabilities of email that it possesses that cannot be replaced by anything else. And even with Gen Z, the emails still are the place where come back for their passwords, to their account details, reminders, and I think it's still working as a default. Probably these fallback channels would have a different, more important role in these workflows, but in general, I think it's still the same. Anyways, if you have two channels and the email just have like poor open rates, people just have more often send out an alternative channel or the third alternative channel than the first one. You will see that in stats like really easily. You will see that this trigger works best for me, like with WhatsApp, unlike email. But you would still put an email in the first place because of that it's this one is free. And if somebody
But
hopes,
when we
it
compare,
already delivers the result.
yeah, but when we compare with push is relatively free too. But I would say that it can be also in the different stages. For push, you have to install mobile application. Before you install, email is number one and only channel to motivate you to set up, to install application when you already provide your email and start to onboard. When you use mobile, push works, it's okay. Don't be very aggressive with email. But when he uninstall application and when he stopping communicating or maybe blocked pushes in mobile application. The only email that can return him back to life.
I wanted also to mention that even if you have mobile app and you can send mobile push, your product team, or that's the story that I hear quite often. I completely disagree, but that's the story I hear constantly. We cannot send push notifications because our users will be annoyed and they will uninstall the application. And so that's ridiculous, but yeah, the teams
Yeah, but
see.
for email, they will never uninstall email client. They will unsubscribe, and it's okay because of they can unsubscribe from promotional, but still will receive some transactional. Maybe you always can return him back to promotional subscription. But yes, it's very popular story when say, okay, we invested so much for him to install application and use this. We don't want to bother him with any promotion because of they can block us whole application, which is wrong. But makes sense. Makes sense. You have to be careful. Anyway, thank you, Alex. Thank you for everybody who was with us today for your questions. As usual, it was pleasure to have you in our channel for answering your question, our question, and for your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the questions we had. And thank you for the questions that were not scheduled up front. It was more fun to talk in this way. Thanks, Dima.